Play action, drops back, he looks, throws deep up the left side. Ajala gets under it, makes the catch at the 30, inside the 15, all alone, and walks in for the score. Touchdown, Fordham. Taking the snap on 2nd and 6 from his own 28. Thrown over the middle and almost intercepted. Now it's pulled in. Hancock up the far sideline at the 25, inside the 20, and run out of bounds at the 15. Taking the snap and throwing it deep over the middle of the field for Ajala. Makes the catch in the end zone.
We welcome you inside this edition of Monday Night Quarterback here on FordhamSports.com. Mike Watts, Nick Legerfo, and Joe Moorhead to join me in just a moment. We'll have Mark Dupuis on to talk some X's and O's. We have Sam Ajala off his record-breaking performance, and Austin Hancock off a great example of why you use the tip drill coming up later on in the show. But first, we begin here with Joe Moorhead. And Coach, a big win over Yale. It seems like the team is continuing on 8-0 now. What do you take out of that win? What's maybe the most impressive part about that?
I think it was a quality win over a solid opponent. Look at Yale's body of work entering the game. They were 3-1 with a hard-fought loss to Dartmouth, but had a win over a top 25 team. And they were solid offensively and defensively, and for us to be able to come out and put a complete game together, I thought it was a great job by our players and our coaching staff.
And you talk about a great win. You guys started that game off with a bang, scoring on a 68-yard touchdown pass on the second play of the game. Take us through that call. What was your mindset for that call?
One very complicated call. You know, we watched the film, and you know the coverages that they were running to the short side of the field, where Sam was aligned the majority of the time. You know, we felt we had a good one-on-one matchup there, and had the ability to get Sam on top or behind the coverage, and the line protected well. Sam ran a great route, and Michael threw a good ball, and it was good execution.
So at that point in the game, it seemed like maybe things would go pro Fordham as they have all season long, but it was a sloppy first quarter if you look back at it. A lot of turnovers, a couple of interceptions by Michael Niebrick, a couple of fumbles by Tyler Varga, the all Ivy League running back. What did you take out of that first quarter more than just happy it's over?
No, there was some, we did a good job moving the ball, created some explosive plays, and but yeah, like you said, we hadn't been a team throughout the season that had turned the ball over, and to have two there, one going into the red zone and then one on a crucial third down certainly wasn't what we were looking for. But on the other side of the ball, it's great to be able to continue to get the turnovers and create takeaways like we had done defensively. So we got our feet underneath us offensively and got ahead in the positive direction, and it was good. We were able to improve from that quarter on.
And you talked about the turnover battle. You guys were able to actually finish the first half +1 in turnovers. But really, the turnovers have been the story for you guys all season long. You guys have had a tremendous positive turnover margin. How important has that been for your play this year?
It's the two biggest things we talk about: scoring offense, scoring defense, and turnover margin, along with explosive plays. And I think we're one of the top 3 teams in the country in turnover margin, and tops in the Patriot League. So if we can continue to protect the football offensively and create turnovers defensively, hopefully we'll continue to have the success that we've been having.
Well, and Coach, let's take a look at a couple of the fumble recoveries here, because it seemed like you guys always seem to get a big play when you needed it most. It seems like that's the way the defense has played all year, no?
Yeah, it has, and we certainly had a bend but don't break mentality in this game, and you see Stephen Hodge, one of his 14 or 15 tackles, creating a turnover there. Then once again in the red zone, the quarterback on the zone read coming out and stripping the ball out again. And I believe Stephen was given some national recognition and accolades for his performance in this game, and he's done a good job throughout the season being disruptive and tackling players behind the line of scrimmage and creating turnovers. So, our defense is certainly, like I said, it was a bend but don't break mentality. We had given up some yards, but at the end of the day, it's about points scored and points allowed and turnovers created, and I think they've done a good job with that.
Well, offensively, you guys had a great day through the air, but importantly with that is being balanced on the ground, and you guys were certainly able to do that with Jared Creighton and Carlton Kuntz running the ball for you guys. So how important is that for you guys to stay balanced offensively?
It's very balanced. It's very important. You don't want to be one-dimensional as a football team. You don't want to rely too heavily on the run or the pass, and you ideally like to have a 50-50 mix in each game, but certainly the quality of your opponent and what their strengths are and what their defensive scheme is, will dictate whether you pass more or run more, and quite frankly, what's working for you on a given day. So ideally, we'd like to have a 50-50 balance throughout the game, but that percentage will deviate just based on what's working and what the defenses are playing.
And we talked, Nick and I, during the game a little bit about the difference between a Carlton Kuntz and a Jared Creighton, namely about 20 pounds of muscle. So putting a guy like Creighton in and on a play like what we're about to see here, a 6-yard carry where he pushes the pile, what does he add as a different dimension?
He brings a little bit of a different running style than Carlton. Carlton's shifty. He can make people miss. He's very fast and can create plays in space, whereas Jared's a little bit heavier. Is able to run through some of the contact and also in some of the third down pass protection situations we put him in. So, on that goal line play there, we just ran a simple, inside zone. And, the line did a good job blocking it up for about 4 or 5, and then he kind of did the rest. And, it was good to see him get in the end zone again.
Now, moving into the second half, you guys had played well. You were ahead by, I think it was 10 points, 17-7 at that point in the game. You guys were on defense, and Brent Beestick happens to be on the wrong side of a penalty. It was a roughing the passer penalty, and you ended up losing him for the game. How big of a loss was that for your defense?
It was a big loss because Brett's very important and vital to what we do defensively, defending the run and defending the pass, and also because he was playing a particularly solid game against Yale. So, he came in. It was a speed option play, and he hit the quarterback. And their interpretation of it was a targeting that he led with the head, his helmet, and on a defenseless player. And I did not see the play, so the referees offered their explanation, and it's kind of just what it was. At the FCS level, it doesn't go to review like it does at the FBS level, so you don't have that luxury.
Now, Joe, you were able to appeal that, and you told me on Saturday that appeal overturned the first half suspension against Holy Cross. We'll talk more about Holy Cross later on in the show, but how important is it to have a guy like Brett Beestick in the lineup against a guy who's so good at the read option like Pujols?
No, it's very important. I mean, particularly because he's our starting bandit defensive end, but also because he's been playing so well. And all those targeting penalties, they're reviewed by the league, and they go to the coordinator officials in the country, Rogers Redding, and he does a review on them. And if it happens in the first half of a game, you miss that entire game. If it happens in the second half, then you miss the first half of the next game. And we're just very fortunate that they reviewed the play and saw that it wasn't targeting, and we'll have Brett ready to roll for Holy Cross.
And now moving forward in the second half here, you guys offensively, Michael Niebrick had a rather modest day on the ground running the ball, but how effective was he through the air?
Very effective. I believe it was 19 completions for 420-some yards, a couple yards short of the school record. So, like he's done the entire year, he's done a great job creating explosive plays in the pass game and the run game, while limiting his mistakes and turnovers. So, he was able to hook up with the receivers and still, get a touchdown on the ground, and it was another good day for him.
So Fordham 8-0. They move on to the Holy Cross Fordham Ram Crusader Cup coming up on Saturday. We'll preview that game a little bit later when we take a look ahead. But right now, time to talk X's and O's with Fordham Assistant Wide Receivers Coach Mark Dupuis. And Coach, it's good to have you back.
Thanks. Great to be back.
Well, Coach, I think the most impressive thing that you've done between the first time you were here and right now, your hair is at a different level. During the bye week, do you put extra preparation into that?
Of course. When you have a week off, you want to take full advantage of your time, and that was one of the things I really wanted to focus on, was just making sure I could go into this Holy Cross week, big rivalry game, with absolutely great hair.
And did you get that cut? It looks like a fresh cut up there.
Yeah, it's actually Maximum Barbershop in the Bronx is nice. My guy right there. Yeah, awesome spot.
Well, shout out, absolutely. Now, Coach, my question, first of all, speaking of cut, and in this case, cut of the grass. At the Yale Bowl, Nick and I stepped out there. It's tall, wet grass, something that maybe your team hasn't seen yet this year. Your group of receivers continued to be extremely effective on those deep routes. Was that a concern for you guys when you first got there?
Walking out on the field, it was definitely something that caught my eye. I haven't seen grass that long in any of my experience with college football, but that was something that we knew both teams were going to be playing on. So to us, it couldn't affect us, because the DBs had to cover us on that same grass.
And well, Coach, you talk about it. Your guys have a monster week. Specifically, Sam Ajala, 4 touchdowns, 282 yards, a school record. Did you think that this was possible coming into the week?
Our coaching staff, our entire team has full faith in Sam. As an offense, we try to take what the defense gives us, but we knew going into the game Sam was going to have a good matchup. I don't know that we ever expected it was going to be quite that good.
Now, tell me, when you go into the week, you just mentioned that maybe you thought that he'd have a good matchup, but in terms of the other guys, was it a specific effort to get him the ball? Was he the first read on the majority of the catches he had?
I would say that we had shots, deep shots called for all three of our big-time wide receivers. Wetzel had one that he caught. To Bucky, there were two that just, the play didn't work out. But we expected all three of our receivers to have big days, and it just so happened that the plays we called to Sam worked out for us.
And let's take a look at one of those plays right now, and then you can take us through what exactly we're seeing there. Here it is.
Sure. Okay, so we're playing here. This is in the red zone, and we have Sam on a double move there. He did a great job of, kind of sticking the safety, and then Michael Niebrick made a great throw.
Now, it seems like that pump fake is becoming maybe a favorite weapon of Michael Niebrick. What does it do for a receiver? Is that maybe the moment where you make your move, or is that when you turn on the burners a little bit?
Absolutely. Michael Niebrick has done a great job of understanding defenses and the coverage responsibilities that the defenders have. So he knows that if he can pump a certain throw, he might get a defender to freeze or get his eyes in a certain direction. And that is, like you said, the time when we might take off in a different direction that the defender might not expect.
What is it about Sam Ajala that makes him so effective at this level in FCS? Is it speed? Is it strength? What is it about him that makes him so successful?
I think Sam does have great speed. He has great all-around athleticism, and we knew that from this entire season. Since I've met Sam, he's been probably the most talented wide receiver that we've had. He has all the tools, really, and it's just great to see him finally put it all together.
Well, Mark, let's take a look at his second touchdown here. This one, 33 yards in the second half. Take me through this one.
All right, sure. Here we have Yale playing in kind of this heat man look that they're in, and Sam is able to just run a very simple route and get open. Again, Michael made a great read on the play.
This week it was Sam. Next week it could be to Bucky. What are you looking forward to coming in for Holy Cross this week?
Absolutely. We've seen Holy Cross on film, and they look like they're going to be a tough defense to play against. But we fully expect our receivers are going to go out there and have as big a game as we've been having. Like you said, it could be Bucky, it could be Brian Wetzel. You never know what's going to take place on Saturday, but we expect all three guys to be raring to go.
Now, it seemed like a couple weeks ago it was Tabaki who went for over 180 yards, and we went, how could anyone top that? Ajala at 282. Do you possibly expect anyone to get over that this season?
Well, you would love for somebody to do it, but I don't know that anybody is going to. We're going to keep trying to play our best football every Saturday that we can, and we'll see what happens.
And in terms of matchups, is there any particular matchup that you've seen on film so far that favors one of your guys?
Well, I don't know necessarily that there is or isn't a matchup that's favoring us. They play a lot of zone coverages, so we're just going to have to take advantage of that, and we'll see. Michael Niebrick is going to just have to make some great reads and see who is open.
Well, and against Yale, if memory serves, Dan Light, I believe only one catch. It is a team that maybe plays a little bit more zone as opposed to the man free that you saw from Yale. Does that open him up more?
Yeah, you would expect some of the underneath throws maybe to be a little more available in this zone coverage. So we'll see how it goes. But we have full faith in Dan. Again, as a coaching staff, it's just going to be a matter of getting him the ball when he's what the defense gives us.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Now we move forward to our next segment. We go inside the huddle with a couple of Fordham players that had big performances last week at Yale, and before the bye week, really a record-setting day for Sam Ajala and another interception to the resume of Austin Hancock. Let's begin here with Sam, and 282 yards. Could you have expected any kind of performance like that when you were going through the week?
Yeah. I mean, you always expect to play really good. My quarterback coach told me early in the week that he expected me to have a really big game this week, and I went out there and did what he wanted me to do.
Yeah, well, in Austin, you also had a big game yourself, an interception, second of your career, but really all season you've been very consistent, 45 tackles, third on the team, and it seemed like it continued in this game. How did it really feel for you against this Yale team to really lead a very strong defensive performance?
I think Yale's offensive line did a great job. I think it was a tough game for us really to settle down, but I think once our defensive line and really back seven got all in sync, we played well. But there was a couple times there where we got out of place, and we really need to fix that for next week. But I think we're going to come out, we have a little chip on our shoulder this week, and we're going to come out flying.
Now, Austin, it seems like you guys have gradually improved week after week, and last week maybe a bit of a step back in terms of rushing yards allowed, about 300 allowed to that Yale Bulldog team. You mentioned the offensive line did a very good job, but is there anything you think the defense can specifically work on between the Yale game and moving forward to Holy Cross?
Yeah, I think as linebackers we need to play downhill more. I think we need to be a little bit more physical against the zone, which Yale ran, and even up front, just holding our gaps and standing in our zones. And we do that, I think we should be all right.
Absolutely. Well, let's turn now to Sam, and really a couple of big plays for you. Let's take a look at one right here. A 68-yard score, second play from scrimmage. When this play was called, did you have a feeling?
Yeah, I did actually. I was actually looked at Niebrick and gave him the eye and just said, I'm going to beat him. And we got the score on the second play.
Now, in warm-ups, it seemed like I was out there, the grass was a little bit higher, it was a little bit wet. Was there maybe a concern running through your head that maybe you guys wouldn't be able to move up the field the way you guys maybe could on turf or on, maybe a shorter cut grass?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you feel a little slower, but in the end, it's playing football. So you go out there, you don't make excuses, and you just go out there and ball.
Well, right off the bat, you were certainly balling. And I spoke with you before the show, Austin. You said that you specifically felt a lot slower on that high grass. Did it affect what you were doing at all?
I don't think it affected really that much on defense because, I mean, it's more so for the offense. They tried to slow down our playmakers. But, I mean, you could feel the difference playing on turf in that high grass, and especially that grass compared to Temple. But I think specifically on defense, not that much of a difference.
So let's take a look at a play you had during this game. It was the second interception in the last two seasons for you, first of this campaign. Bit of a tip drill. Kind of bring me through that a little bit.
Well, we were in cover two. Ian did a great job just forcing the guy inside, and I was just kind of flown to the inside there, and it got tipped, and I saw it, and I felt like that ball was in the air for 20 minutes. And I finally got it, and I got to relive my quarterback days from high school running the ball a little bit.
Now, are you able to maybe watch the quarterback's eyes with a little more knowledge than maybe a normal linebacker since you've played quarterback in the past?
Yeah, I think that was one thing that helped me with the transition to linebacker. I was able, coverage-wise, when I knew we were in cover three or cover two, I know where he's going to be looking. I know where the soft spots are. So it kind of helps me read him a little bit better, more so than just playing linebacker my whole life.
Yeah, well, and let's go back over here to Sam and take a look at a second play you had. We thought one 68-yarder was pretty cool. The second one, now that's impressive. Take me through not only the catch, but the move you had to make to get around the two defenders there.
We basically ran a little option route and got one-on-one with the safety, made the cut. Niebrick threw a ball, and I guess the backside safety, he lost his footing or whatever, and then I gave the other safety a little stiff arm and just raced to the end zone. Wetzel had my back and made sure I got in safely.
Now, you said an option route. What kind of option is that? Something you read pre-snap in terms of coverage? Is it something that you maybe go off of what the defensive back does once the play begins?
Yeah, it's both. It's a pre-snap, and while I'm going through the route, I make a read. It's kind of like a secret. But
anything that you're specifically looking for, is that a secret you're not willing to give?
Oh, no, I mean, just the leverage. It's just if he's outside, I'm going to go inside. If he's inside, I'll go out.
Absolutely. Now, let's kind of take a look at maybe what got both of those plays going. There was a play action on the first one, and then I believe a fake screen on the second one that set it up. Is that something that having a great running game and being able to do that so effectively helps you guys get open down the field?
Definitely, yeah. We all know we have Carlton, and then we're having Creighton play really good, and Niebrick sells the fakes good because he can run as well. And so you have to account for everything, and if you take a misstep, we're going past you.
Absolutely. Now let's turn back over here to a defensive play, a couple of defensive plays. We're going to take a look at one in particular. It's a play where you didn't actually recover the fumble. You didn't know the ball was on the ground, but it was a great hit by Ian Williams and a good job to recover the fumble.
Yeah, all week we were talking about playing physical with these guys, and I think that's a perfect example. The receiver caught the ball, and right away Ian was on him, made a solid tackle. And when the kid fumbled, I don't think half the players running for the ball knew because it was laying right beside him. But we did a great job jumping on it and really kind of set the tone for the game and helped our offense continue to get points.
Now, in terms of getting all these forced fumbles, last year Mike Martin was the guy who finished with 9 forced fumbles, and I think he had the most per game in the country. This year, the question was who's going to make big plays like that, and it seems like everybody's chipping in. Is that a mentality that you guys have fostered this year?
Yeah, all camp we focused on trying to get more turnovers. We weren't happy with with how many we got last year. So that was a big emphasis for us. So we worked on that. We do turnover circuits and everything just to force getting the ball out and everything like that. And kid that's been doing it, picked up Mike's slack, is Hodge. Hodge has been doing a great job getting fumbles out. And if we continue to get turnovers, I mean, we're going to be hard to beat.
So you work on maybe stripping the ball. Do you work on tip drills?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have, and that came in handy for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's turn back over here towards Holy Cross. And Sam, let's begin with you. What have you seen, whether it's in film or what you remember from playing this team in the past, what they do defensively, and what you anticipate seeing come Saturday?
Well, I understand they have a good coach, and they're coached really well. But, I mean, they run a pretty basic defense, a lot of cover 4, cover 3. So, I mean, it's nothing that's crazy. They disguise well, but Coach Moorhead will get us right.
Knowing that it's cover 3 or cover 4, does that maybe take away opportunities for you down the field, maybe force a little more underneath passing? Is that something that maybe comes from that, or was it maybe changing the game plan for you guys?
I wouldn't say so. We have a lot of ways to attack every coverage. So if I'm not running downfield, Tabucky might be, or Wetzel might be, or Dan, or we might just be running it. So that goes to us having a great offense and being able to do what we want to do.
If you're going to average over 40 points a game, I suppose there's a way to beat every coverage. And in terms of you defensively, you've got a freshman quarterback that's coming to Rose Hill, and Pujols. He's really done a good job of taking care of the football, made some big plays. But what have you guys seen from him on film, and what does he do for that offense?
He's athletic. He's able to pull down the ball and run, but he can make the good throws as well. So we just got to be disciplined, and like I said earlier, we're going to be playing with a chip on our shoulder this week and come out flying and try to be physical with him and get in his head and rattle him early.
Austin, I got to ask you, Sam with 282 yards last week, you used to play quarterback in high school. How many 282-yard performances did you have even throwing the football?
Yeah, I don't know if I had any. Yeah, I might maybe total yards, but not passing. Yeah, he had a heck of a game last week.
Yeah, so. Did you have the touch on the long ball that Niebrick showed last week?
I don't think I could throw it that far. That's why I'm not playing quarterback anymore.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much, and good luck against Holy Cross.
Thank you.
Time to take a look ahead with Fordham football head coach Joe Moorhead, Mike Watts, and Nick LaGerfo back with you here on FordhamSports.com. And, Coach, you look forward to the Holy Cross game. We talk about it at the start of every season. You want to win the Liberty Cup. You want to have a winning record out of conference. You've got both of those. Now you're looking for the last two. 4 games left in the Patriot League. You want to win the Patriot League or have the best record, and then to win the Ram Crusader Cup. How important is this game at home?
Very important on a lot of different levels. First off, because it's our next game, and we want to be 1-0 versus Holy Cross and keep this thing rolling in the direction it's heading. And to keep the Ram Crusader Cup at home, a great rivalry against 2 Jesuit institutions. So we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that the cup stays here at Rose Hill.
Just, Coach, early on, what are some of the challenges that you see offensively for your squad this week?
Offensively, look at the quarterback. Peter Pujols has won, I believe, 5 Patriot League Rookie of the Week awards. He does a tremendous job throwing the ball within their scheme and running the ball on design runs and quarterback scrambles. And they have 2 excellent receivers with Fess and Raymond, and kind of a little running back by committee. They have a bunch of guys touch the ball. So Coach McKenzie's our offense coordinator. He does a good job scheming it up. So we're going to definitely have our hands full on Saturday.
Well, it seems like the maybe biggest contribution that Pujols has made coming in as maybe a freshman who wasn't expected to start was taking care of the football. That was a bit of a struggle for him last week against Lafayette, and a big loss for Holy Cross there going into this game. What did you see on film from him in terms of taking care of the ball and the plays he's able to make with his legs and with his arm?
Yeah, it happens sometimes. He's a true freshman, and I think they've done an unbelievable job bringing him along and giving him, putting him in positions to be successful with what he does well. So, it happens. You're going to make mistakes, regardless of the year. And, they just kind of happened to run into another quarterback that had a hot game, and the kid from Lafayette. I believe he had 1 incompletion in the game. So, we expect, Pujols to be back and be as difficult to defend as ever.
All right, switching over to the defensive side of the ball, what can we expect to see from Holy Cross defensively?
Coach Rondo and I know Coach Gilmore heavily involved in the defense. They do a very good job mixing up their 3-down and 4-down fronts. You see a combination of zone coverages and pressures from different angles and from the field, from the boundary. So we got to be able to execute our plays versus their base zones and be able to cover up the pressures and pick them up and be able to execute well offensively and move the ball while limiting turnovers.
Are there any playmakers you look at on that Crusader defense, whether it's Aqua, the defensive end, or any of the linebackers who, for the most part, have had great statistical seasons? Who stands out to you?
You know, up front, I think they have 3 guys that really do a good job. Aqua, the other defensive end, number 57, kid from Virginia, and then they have a young kid, 94, out of Florida, who does a really good job. And then Sandoval's kind of the guy at the second level with the will linebacker position, who's very productive. So, like I said, they play hard, they play smart, they're very disciplined, and you know, we're gonna have to have a great week of preparation.
And Coach, you mentioned it before this segment. Eli Tenuta, defensive end, is expected to be back this week for you guys. How big is it to get Eli back?
Very big, because we've had 3 interior defensive linemen taking all the snaps, and 2 of those guys are true freshmen. So between DeAndre and Manny and Alex, you know, to get George and Eli back and in the mix on the inside, you know, it'll allow us to you know, be more fresh, rotate more guys through, and not have to rely on 3 guys to take a majority of the snaps.
Coach, going into the Yale game, you told me this was the healthiest your team had been maybe all year. And then after the game, you said, well, yeah, we were a little bit nicked up. How much did this bye week help to alleviate some of those nicks and you know, injuries that build up over time?
Yeah, you know, it was week 8, so that's going to happen at any level. We were going to have guys banged up and in need of a little bit of R&R. So, you know, we switched our schedule up a little bit. Instead of traditionally, you know, practicing on Thursday and Friday, the bye week, you know, we pushed it back to Sunday to give the guys a chance to heal up. So, you know, we went out in uppers yesterday, had a very spirited practice. You know, all the guys were excited to get back, and, you know, they were flying around, and it looks like they have their legs back under them. So I think it'll pay dividends giving them the rest that we did last week.
And finally, for me, Coach, how important is it for you guys to be playing this game, rivalry game, in front of your home crowd at Jack Coffey Field?
Very important. You know, I know that all the chairbacks have been sold out. I know there's a limited number of seats available. So the student body support, the university support has been absolutely tremendous throughout the season. I mean, coming off of 2 successive sellouts, I hope we can sell out this one too, and, you know, keep the home field advantage a true advantage. So you know, it's been, you know, the support we've gotten this year has been unbelievable.
Well, and Coach, I know you were probably watching a lot of game film over this bye week, but I know your team went to a taping of the Maury Povich show up in Connecticut. My question to you is do those kind of team bonding activities help the team, or does it make them a little bit soft?
You know, the guys are free to do with their downtime what they choose, and I know it's a couple Metro North stops away in Stanford, so a group of them got together, got some tickets, and went up and, you know, enjoyed being college students for a week that, you know, the time that they had off. So soft, I guess that's open to interpretation, but I know they went up. No, they went up there and had a good time.
Definitely an English major's answer right there. Well, Coach, thank you so much. And our thanks to Mark Dupuis, the assistant coach for wide receivers, who joined us, as well as Sam Ajala off his 282-yard performance, and Austin Hancock, who had an interception against Yale as well. We'll be back next week with another edition of Monday Night Quarterback. But until then, for Nick Lajerfo and all of our guests, I'm Mike Watts. Monday Night Quarterback is a production of WFUV Sports.